Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. My next guest is Colin White from Loss Prevention and Safety Consulting. And we were just talking in the break, Colin, about how a lot of small businesses are getting ripped off by their own employees.
Absolutely.
And you help them find out who's doing it.
We do. It's about a $600 billion a year problem just in the United States alone. Retailers, which are the companies that report some smaller losses, it's about $54 billion a year. The only reason that they really report is because they're a publicly traded organization. So the estimates out there that the experts have looked at, it's about $600 billion. Small businesses, medium-sized businesses, independently owned businesses, they really don't even know. A lot of times they're kind of naive and really don't even know that they potentially would have an employee that's working for them.
They trust their employees.
They trust their employees, and we want to do that. That's human nature.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is come in, we'll assess their current business practices, we will look at recommendations and recommend enhancements to their current programs, as well as provide investigative expertise to look at potentially where those losses are occurring. If they can call us up and say, hey, I think I've got a problem, we'll go in and we'll figure out what that problem is.
Well, you think you have a problem if your bottom line is missing a bunch
Absolutely.
of merchandise or inventory.
Yeah, and statistics will show, and some of the things that have been looked at and analyzed, about $43,000 is the average loss for a small business.
Is that a year? Or
No, that's one occurrence by one employee.
Oh, $43,000.
$43,000, yeah, and it can go all the way up exponentially beyond that. So it's pretty staggering when you take a look at it.
How can one employee do $43,000?
You will be surprised. Usually, and the reason that employees have more access to businesses are obvious reasons. They have keys, they have alarm codes, they can get in and out.
Right.
A lot of times they're not there when the owner is there, and it really just kind of creates a problem. Background checks, drug testing, pre-employment testing really kind of only go so far, because this isn't a socioeconomic type of a crime. It's blue collar, it's white collar. I've been involved in investigations where I've spoken to executives of companies who were making multi-six-figure salaries, who were embezzling tens of thousands of dollars from that company in fraud and other ways, just because they were disgruntled or they felt that their raise or their bonus wasn't what it should have been the previous year. So
okay, but the big guys are juggling the books.
Big guys are juggling the books.
The small guys are walking out the back door with something.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's really what it comes down to, is that there's no set way in which it occurs. There's everything from the more sophisticated type of losses and crimes that are occurring to just right out walking out the back door, like you just stated.
But don't businesses, every business now has cameras everywhere.
They do. However, the employees know where the cameras can't see. They also have access to the cameras, and a lot of times the recording devices, to go ahead and turn those devices off and or circumvent them in some other way so they can't be seen in what they're doing. So a lot of places and businesses today are not covered by cameras. Usually it's the public areas. They're looking at safety of the employees as well as the customers, but they're also just really taking a look at their areas. A lot of stock rooms in the back, a lot of entrances and exits in the back areas, back hallway areas. That's where a lot of these things happen, and a lot of times those are not covered by cameras. So
when you find out that someone has been stealing and you can prove it, and you go to the owner and say, this employee you trusted is ripping you off, are they shocked?
90% of the time, yes, they're very, very shocked. And believe it or not, usually it's more tenured employees. They get comfortable and they believe that I can do this without getting caught. And at that point, it's really up to the employee. What do you want to do with this employee that's stealing from you? Most of the time, they will go ahead and obviously terminate that person, but we also will help them progress to prosecution if they choose to do so.
Yeah. If I was doing that, taking stuff out the back door and messing with the cameras, I'd be suspicious if someone like you came poking around all of a sudden out of the blue. How do you sneak into a business without making everybody suspicious?
Right. Well, a lot of times employers will bring us in because they want their employees to know that they're
going to stop if they know that you're watching.
A lot of times that they will stop, absolutely, and that's beneficial in a lot of cases. However, what we can do is we can go back and we can look at it from a forensic standpoint and look at the books. We can look at the inventory controls and we can look at everything. We can trace it back and find out exactly what was going on. It doesn't mean just because they quit working for that employer, the next day they don't come to work, it doesn't mean that we can't go back and literally pursue prosecution at a later date if we choose to.
Well, fascinating stuff you do. Is it expensive for a company to hire you?
No, it's not. We really work with people according to their business model. Smaller businesses, we're going to work with them to come up with a program and a package that's going to work specifically for them within their budget.
And it probably pays for itself.
It does.
In what you save them from walking out the back door.
$43,000 in one occurrence in small business. You can kind of think about it from there.
Wow. All right, Colin. So how can folks reach you?
They can reach us through our phone number at area code 925, don't let the area code throw you, 989-5043, or else our website at www.lpsconsulting.org.
lpsconsulting.org. All right, Colin White from Loss Prevention and Safety Consulting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting stuff. And we'll be back with more on Central Valley Talk.